All right, guys. Sorry for keeping you guys waiting. I had a call. It gets sometimes busy. Anyways, cool. Let me bring this up a little bit. Cool. So I hope you guys can hear my voice well. I hope it's not too bad. Whatever be the case, let's get going. Okay, so I'm working on a song for one of my artists, and we are working on Akosia de Japan's song Odomema Misonko. If you want to hear how it sounds like, have a listen at how it sounds like, something like this. Odomema Misonko. Odomema Misonko. All right, you guys get the point, right? So that's what we're working on. So what we like to do is with our artists, we like to do mashups, not just their songs. You know, we write songs for them. At the same time, they do mashups just to honor certain songs and stuff like that, okay? So if you hear me doing a song, that is why. Or if you hear us doing a song, that's why. Okay, cool. So first things first, whenever I get into mixing, this is the first thing I like to do. Of course, you guys can see that I've done some panning and some leveling and all that. It's not really mixed yet, you know. Even with the drums, I want to do certain things on it, but just because we want this to be focused on mixing, we can just kind of get going into it, okay? I just hope I don't get disturbed with a call because the person didn't finish for me. She's probably going to call back. But anyways, if she does, I'll play the music and talk to her, and then we'll just resume. Okay? Yeah, all right. Talk to you guys later. guys, sorry about that. I had a very important call. You know, sometimes you just never know when you get in a call. A very important call. I couldn't talk while live because it's very confidential. So sorry about that. Anyways, you guys kind of get the idea of the structure of the song. You guys got it. So in mixing, here's what I like to do first. Okay. So by the way, I'm mixing in Logic Pro. If you don't know what Logic Pro is, it looks like this icon right here. Okay, that's Logic Pro, and I also use Studio One as a secondary. Okay, I'm mixing on Mac. Okay, as you guys can see, Mac. Okay, cool. So here is what we're gonna do. We are gonna mix the song, and I'm gonna show you some of the processes that I like to do. Usually when I'm doing live mixing, I probably will not do it 100% good. I will come back and clean it up because it's live and I just kind of want to get a few processing on well, just to get going. And then at the same time, I don't know how much space, I don't know how heavy the work is going to be on the computer. It's going to start acting up, right? So I don't know. Maybe it won't act up, but on my old Mac, I used to do that all the time. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on. Okay, so again, sorry about the beginning for the long pause. I had a very, very confidential and important call I had to attend to. Okay, so here we go. So we have basically all these tracks. Let me just kind of take you through. Okay, so when we go through, we have a shaker that goes like this. You guys hear it? Okay, so we have a shaker that goes like that. Okay, you guys got it? Then we have another shaker that goes like that. Okay, then I did a whole bunch of drums, and I'm going to explain it to you. So I did it basically in battery, and it just have a whole bunch of notes. Okay, and for you to know what notes are in there, you can double click it and see the things. For example, that's snare, that's the kick, right? That's another type of ram shot or snare, if you want to call it snare, right? Some type of sound, right? You guys see that? Okay, so we see that's for the most part that's what I have there. And then here, so some tom, and some clash, and then we have this sound here too, right? Tom. You guys see that? All right, you guys see that? So the point is, it has a whole bunch of notes that I've already pre-programmed or whatever. Okay, so those notes will be playing like this. All right, you guys get it? Then I have percussions. Not a percussion, but just a sound in there that is doing something very simple. Hear it. It does like a snare, kind of. You guys see that? Very simple. You guys see that? Very simple, right? You guys see that? Very simple. And you can see more of what is being played in my program here in battery. You can see it's here. See right here. And then the other one is here. So this, and then this shaker. You guys see that? So that's what's happening. All right. Again, I don't know if that's going to make the cut. And then for the main stuff, I have an EP playing. Okay, I have an EP playing. Okay. Let me just do it this way so you can see in a different way. Okay. So I have an EP playing here. Then I have a piano playing here. There's another piano playing here. Hear it. So it goes together with this. It goes together with this one, okay? You guys see that? And then there's a guitar, 2 guitars playing. Let's just hear how it sounds like. One sounds like this. It's not live guitar, it's MIDI guitar. All right, and then the second part is playing something like this. All right, so again, it's MIDI, it's not live guitar. Together. All right, cool. And then there's a whole bunch of bass lines. I started out playing this bass line here. I started out playing that. Then after that, the team played this. All right, and we decided to use a different tone, and that's this. All right, cool. Again, it's not mixed, okay? And so that is what we have for the bass line, okay? Then we have some horns, okay? And that sounds like this. That is also MIDI. All right, you guys got it? So like that. All right, cool. So that is all there is in this song, okay? So we're gonna talk about how I like to mix, okay? So let's see, what time do we have? Let me see what minute we are at. We are at 24 minutes. Let me try and do this within an hour. Not the real mixing, but just basics, okay? Cool. So what I like to do in mixing is few things. I like to do my equalization, my compression, the early stuff I do in the process, my equalization, my compression. I start working on balance early, because if I don't work on balance early, I'm going to mix hot. And then when I mix hot, it's going to be very hard to come back down, okay? So I like to mix low, then work my way up, or mix medium, then come a bit lower than that, okay? And I'll explain that all to you all, okay? So real quick, one of the things that I like to do before I mix is I like to clean up my project. What do I mean by that? If I know for sure I'm only using this bass and I don't need these 2 basses, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of them, and they're going to be out of the way, okay? Right now I have it, like for example, if I delete it, then it's cleaner. It's just one simple bass, right? But for the purpose of demonstration, I will not be deleting them, just in case I wanted to use a part. For example, maybe I like something I played over here and I wanted to include that in there. I can mismatch, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. So that's why it's muted, okay? And I have this muted because I don't want you to really be listening to the voice, because that's not the final voice. It's just a first voice. I just want to start working on this. So I'm just coming your way. so you guys get an experience of how mixing goes about. Okay, so that is the basics of that. The things you need to understand in order to get going in your mixing process. Okay, cool. So first things first. I mean, if you have any questions, do jot them down. I'll take a look when I can. Okay, all right. So the first things first is we are going to bring up the mixer in Logic SX. Okay. Then what I like to normally do is I like to zero out my board. That is the first thing I do, zero out my board. This is just a reference track, so I'm not really using it. It's just there to be there, just because my artists need to sync the right words and stuff like that. So it's just there for that reason. So what I generally like to do is I like to zero out my board. Okay. So I'll go ahead and select it all, and then all I do is pick one and zero it out. Okay, sorry, that's panning. Bad example. Bad example. Bad example. Yeah. Bad example. Okay, cool. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, let me see. Yeah, sometimes Logic don't really get that done. Okay, cool. So at the end of the day, we're gonna go through this. So it doesn't matter. Don't worry about any panning going on. I'm gonna fix all that. Okay. So what I like to do is, like I said, zero out my board. And the way it works is, rather than selecting here, I'm gonna select here. I just wasn't thinking ahead of time. Sorry. We can just drag it down. It's fine. Okay. And so now when we play, we shouldn't hear anything. Okay. You don't hear anything. You see it's playing, but we don't hear anything. Okay. And that's what I like to do. Okay. Then I don't know why I selected all this, but I could go ahead and just bring everything back to zero. All right. So you guys don't get confused. All right. The reason why it cannot all go to zero is because somewhere at different selections. Okay, so I'll show you guys later how we're gonna get it the way we want it. Okay, so we're gonna do 0. All right, 0 0. Okay, all right, so you see now it's zeroed out. Okay, and you guys can see nothing is here. When I bring it up, you're going to start seeing numbers. So right now you can see everything is zeroed out. And it's playing, but you don't hear anything, right? An example of that is if I was to bring up the flute sound, you will hear it. You guys see that? So everything is zeroed out right now. Okay, cool. So what do I like to do first? Anytime I work on a song, I want to start out with my drums first. Okay, so I'm just gonna have it keep looping. Usually, what I like to do is pick a section and work on it. But because this is just throughout for the most part, I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, so we're gonna pick our first shaker. And all I'm going to do is I can decide to solo it and work that way, but I don't have the time for that. So we're just going to bring it up gradually. Okay. All right. So you guys are starting to hear something. All right. Remember, I told you I don't like to mix high because the more we apply treatments and compression and stuff, it's going to keep coming up. So I like to start midway So when I'm done, I push it down a little bit to get within somewhere between this region. Okay. All right. Again, it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff, so I'm just trying to give you an idea. So 16.0 sounds fine for me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do equalization and compression. Okay. So what I'm going to start with is, for the shaker, I'm going to start with EQ. All right. The question you got to ask yourself is, how do you EQ? Okay. And I'm going to kind of give you a basic understanding of EQing. Okay. The whole point of EQing is, if you have a recording and you hear certain frequencies that maybe there's a noise there you don't like, you got to try and find that frequency. For example, if I'm hearing some type of high noise somewhere that I'm not getting, I got to come within the high ranges and try and find it and get it out. Okay. And that is what EQing is all about. Okay. But for the most part, you can also see EQing as a way of killing the ranges that are, how would you put it? Killing the ranges that are not necessary for that instrument. For example, if I'm playing let me use a better example. For example, if I'm using, let's use this as an example. For example, if I'm using this shaker and the cowbell, like you hear, like right now, what you are hearing, what frequency is not that needed? You look at the diagram, okay? You see, I have the analyzer, so you don't see anything. So something like this, you have to come up with your own. But in Logic, it gives you the analyzer, which gives you some type of idea of what ranges to look for certain things, okay? So it makes it a bit easier, okay? So when we look at the waves here, okay, or the reads, we see that there's a lot of activity happening within this region here, okay, that I have selected, right? There's a lot of activities happening here. There's some activities happening here. There's less activities happening here. There's a bit less here and some here. And you see the highest peak, as we can see, is right about, the highest peak is right about zero, it looks like. Okay, so that's the highest peak as we see it. Okay, anyways, the way I like to approach this is this. Because it's a high instrument, I'm going to try and get rid of the frequencies, the frequency ranges that I don't want. Okay, so I'm going to maybe kill the low. For example, if I was to kill it too much, hear how it's going to sound like. You can barely hear the shaker. You see, if I killed it too much, you can barely hear the shaker. You guys see that? Now you can hear it. Can't. You can. Can't. Okay, so too much of something is bad, and not enough is also bad. So you just got to know how to really work with it. Okay, cool. So what I like to do is, I normally like to see the activities within this region, just to have an understanding of the highest I can get to. And the highest I can get to is between the 200 and the 100. If anything, right about the 250, but I'm going to back a little bit to the 200, okay? And sometimes you can just bypass it just to hear how it sounds like, right? Bypass it, on, off, okay? All right, so now one thing I like to do is, even though I have it set to 200 milliseconds, okay? Oh, sorry, 200 Hz. It's hard for me to read, okay? So I'll go ahead and also work on the curve, okay? And the way the curve works is, I gotta see, for example, here. You see, if I have I need certain things within the lows, I got to keep some. If I don't, then I got to curve it a bit more, okay? So to me, I don't think I need anything here until when I start getting to right about the 200. So anything within this area I feel like can get killed, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. The reason you do this is so your mixes can sound clean, okay? So sometimes you're gonna need to shape it out. See what I'm doing? And that should do, okay? So already, without it, it sounds like this. With it, it sounds like this. Okay, cool. So the other thing that I'm gonna do is after I've done that high pass, so basically what I'm doing right now is kind of like a low pass filter or high pass filter based on what needs to be done with that instrument, and that's all I'm doing. Then after that, I'm gonna now start working on the frequency ranges that I want to work on, okay? And basically, generally for me, I look for cuts, the areas I want to cut. And the way I look at it is anywhere I see certain, certain frequencies not as active, I kind of work with that frequency and go around and find something to cut, okay? So let's start with, I think this will be a perfect range to work with. Okay, so let's work with that. Okay, kind of like a high mid in a way. So let's work with that. So the way I like to do it is I like to boost that frequency. I like to boost it a lot. Then I start looking for certain things that I don't like. All right, so it's not like I don't like it, but I feel like that's a frequency that could be cleaned a little bit, okay? So once I find it, what I like to do is, you see how big it looks, right? I don't want it to affect other ranges because I need them, right? So what I'm rather gonna do is I'm rather gonna narrow it down. I'm rather gonna narrow it down, okay, like this. So I don't affect other frequencies. Then from here, I can decide to drop it down this way or manually do it, same. All right, so that sounds good. One thing I sometimes will consider is doing another low cut by using this range here and cutting it a bit lower. Like that, okay? Sometimes I'll do that, not all the time. All right, so now that we got that, we need to work on a range here somewhere, right? So we're gonna work with this. All right, let's use this. We're gonna cut it a bit more. Okay. And sometimes I will do a high cut, but you know why I won't do that? Because of the shaker, right? So I'll go ahead and take that out and not do a high cut. But sometimes I might do a slight cut. Not in this instance. I want to keep that. So with the little we've done, without the equalization, we sound like this. And with the equalization, we sound like this. So without, with, or without, with, without, with. Cool. So that's what we have for that. Okay. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do the equalization, and I'm going to do equalization, compression, and then pan. Then after that, I'll work on certain things like other treatments and stuff like that. This video is going to be long, so I'm going to try and keep it very simple and straightforward. We already have 42 minutes. Okay. All right. So now that I have that, let's work on compression. All right, I'm using waves and finding our compressor. Now, with our comp, you're going to have mono or stereo. The way it works is if a sound is mono, you use mono. If a sound is stereo, you use stereo. In this instance, this is a stereo sound I'm working on. If I use mono, that's going to sound bad. It's going to make it sound like a mono sound. Right now you won't see the impact, but later you would. So just make sure you use stereo for stereo sounds. All right, and for me personally, I like to use the factory stuff. If you like to use the new stuff, go ahead and use the new stuff. Okay, I like to use my legacy stuff, how it was originally made. But if you want to use the new stuff, go ahead and use it that way. Nothing changes. Same thing. Same thing, okay? So the way I like to work with this is this. I like to lower my ratio, okay? You see I'm lowering my ratio. If you change your scan, it lowers the ratio. Nothing is different, like I said, right? If I lower my threshold, it's going to lower there too, okay? So I'm going to set it high. And the way I like to do it is this. I like to set my threshold and ratio to a certain bandwidth or a way I would like to hear it. So it sounds, it sounds nice and clean, So with something like a shaker, you see, I added too much. You see how it sounds? So what I generally like to do is I generally like to lower the threshold and the ratio to get it right about -3 to -6, okay? -3 to -6, somewhere like that. All right, sometimes I'll mess with our tack. For now, we're not going to worry too much about that. And sometimes, if I want to hear it lower, I will lower it. If I want to hear it higher, I'll go higher. The higher, you start looking at red, and red can never be good, right? So make sure you don't see any color whenever you put it in there, or at least you see green rather. If you start seeing yellow or red, you're not doing a good job. Yellow, sometimes you can get away. All right, cool. And it doesn't sound like much has been done to it, but you are going to understand very soon, okay? So as we are doing this, you see the meters is also going to start going up, okay? As we are doing, the more we keep doing these things, okay? So what I like to add to this, could sometimes be an Ssl bus, an Ssl compressor. Okay, an Ssl compressor. Okay, remember mono stereo. And I can, work on that way sometimes. But that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use a CLA. All right, CLA 2A stereo. You see how automatically it brought the volume up. Now with the CLA, you can sometimes go ahead and find presets and then work your way up, okay? If you have a preset you like, okay? For example, since this is a drum instrument, if I wanted to do drum group or hard drum group, that could be a test, right? Okay, notice a switch from off to 60 hertz, okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's work on this. My goal with working with a compressor is this. Depending on what I'm working on, sometimes I want to hear it. I want to see the meter drop lower, depending on what I'm working on. Sometimes I want to see the meter just slightly move, or sometimes right in the middle, like this is, okay? And watch what I mean. So for example, if I give it a lot of gain, and then decrease the peak reduction. See, it stops moving. But if I increase the peak reduction, it starts going the opposite way. And it starts sounding far away, okay? So the way I like to do this is this. I like to basically work with a peak reduction for something like a shaker. I want to see it somewhere between -3 and -8, somewhere there about, okay? Somewhere there about between -3 and -8, okay? Somewhere there about. If I wanted more up front, then I got to get closer to the 0, okay? You see how I'm getting closer to the 0? Sometimes if I wanted more gain, I could add a bit more gain. So you guys see how I'm close to the 0? Okay, and for your analog settings, it's all about the taste. If you want it off, if you want 60 hertz, or if you want 80 hertz, Can't tell if it's 80 or 90. It doesn't really matter. All right, 60. Yeah, 80 or 90. Cool. So 60 hertz. Sometimes hear how it sounds. All right, if it doesn't change, then you're good. Okay. And I usually don't mess with the display. I keep it the same. Some people would like to put a limiter on it and limit it. Okay, that's available. I just like to keep it at a compression level. Okay. So you see, I use the drum group and I just modified. And you can do this without picking any group. Okay, you can just easily select this and then work with the concept of what I'm talking about. So without the treatments, we sound like this. You see that? And you see where we are at. We are in the middle. But just by treating it a little bit, you see where we already at? We're already in the yellows, heading for the reds. Okay? So you see why I'm telling you, you need to make sure you are mixing low so you don't get too high. Okay? Cool. All right, so you guys see how we are getting there. So we are getting there with a little bit of processing. Okay, and that is gonna be it for that. And then in terms of panning, I want to do that after I've gone through majority of it. Okay, so I've done equalization and compression right now. Okay, equalization and compression. I haven't added no exciter, nothing to spice it up yet. Okay, just EQ and compression. Okay, so now we have the shaker going for us. The thing we need to ask ourselves is, we have two shakers. Okay, so what we can always do is we can always copy the settings here to the other shaker. Okay, so you see it's not there, but we're gonna have to bring it in a little bit. The thing we gotta ask ourselves is, does that sound the same as the other one? So you might need to work on different frequencies. Okay, so for now, let's copy it on and let's see how it sounds. Hold Option so you can paste. For me personally, for this sound, I would say just do a different EQ. I'll tell you why. See, it's only peaking at the high. Nothing is going on here. So don't worry about all that. Just simply get a big one. Remember the other one, we had 200? Well, this one, you keep going. Almost to 2K. See, if you cut it more, you're going to lose it. Okay? So almost to 2K. And you see what we are doing? By us doing this, what is happening is, we are allowing all the noise that will happen in this region to be cut out so we can have a clean recording. Okay, we are giving ourselves the chance so that we don't have any bad recording. All right, and then what I generally like to do is this. You see how it kind of curves here? So I would like to do a small high pass, not a big, a small. You see that? Very small like that. Then what I like to do is with this one, with this range, I boost it up a little bit. Let's work with this range. I think that'll be much better. You see that? So without the EQ, it sounds like this. With okay, and I just boost it a little bit, kind of like that, okay? And that's kind of how I work with a sound like this, okay? Cool. In terms of compression, we can copy the same thing and just tweak it, or you can just work from the scratch, okay? It doesn't really matter. Well, let's just work from scratch so you don't get confused, okay? So compression, stereo, okay? Again, if you want the new skins, you can use the new skins, okay? Light, dark, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so for now, let's use the light because that's probably what you're used to. So let's go ahead, work on this. You see how it's the sound is changing? All right. Okay. Remember, I told you we want to get -3 or -6. Are we doing that? No, we're not. So let's pull it up. Let's put it up a little bit. Let's bring it down. See, because it's very soft. So the more you push it, the more you'll be pushing it too much. You guys see? Okay, without, with. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do the CLA 2A without, with. And you see the CLA 2A gives it a hard sound, that type of hard sound. Sometimes you don't want it to be that hard, right? So you gotta, like I said, you gotta use it moderately, okay? Yeah, I think I like it this way better, okay? So you got to pick and choose your poison, all right? So together with the two. Okay, so far we have that, okay? Now with the drums, I'm not gonna do that one in this video because that's a lot of work, okay? The reason is this. This is called multi-output recording. That means you're seeing one track, but it's a lot of sounds there. Let me explain it to you. See, you are seeing a lot, one track, but you see, you hear a snare, you hear a kick, you hear that sound. You are seeing a lot of things go on here. Okay. And so for me to mix this, I would have to use the battery to come in and do the Ssl, let me see. Yeah, the Ssl mix, the Ssl matrix. Well, I already have it done, but let's see. Okay, so the way it's gonna work is this. Say I want the snare to be assigned, right? I'd have to come to, look. So this is a snare here. I'll right click it, go to output, then go to direct out, and I'm gonna pick a stereo if I want it on a stereo. If I want it on a mono, I'm gonna put it on a mono. It looks like I did a stereo multi output, so I'm kind of limited, but still I'm gonna do it this way, and I know what to do to get it to whatever I want. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. I just got to delete some and stuff like that. If it's going to give me 2 channels, I'll just delete the 2, keep the 1, and it would basically be channel 1, channel 3, channel 5, and so on. Okay, it doesn't really matter. All right, so that's how I'm going to do that. For now, I'm just going to leave it in. I feel like I don't want to work on that right now. It's going to take a lot of my time. So for now, I'm just going to mix it in with the shakers. Okay, I'm not going to do any treatment on it because I don't. All right, I guess maybe I should show you just in case you ever use battery. It's not a big deal. I can just show you briefly, but I'm not going to mix it. Okay, so let's hear how it all sounds. Okay, kick is going to be our 1. So watch, 1. You got to remember this. Okay, 1. There's a snare here. We're going to make that our 2. Two is going to be the 3, okay? Remember, it's stereo output, so don't pick this again. We're going to pick our 3 and 4, okay? And then the next snare, that sound here, we're gonna pick another one for it. Don't pick the same thing because you might want to mix it differently. So just pick something else. Or you can pick the same thing and just leave it on the 4 if you want it to be a mono. It all depends on what you want to shoot for. So I'm gonna keep it on 5 and 6 because I have more than enough channels. Remember, I have all these to work with, okay? So what did we keep it on? 5 and 6, okay? So we have 7 and 8 to work with. So let's see. I is here. So we're gonna pick that for our 7 and 8. And then our tom. Okay, we are using this tom, and this tom. So those are going to be 10, 12. Okay, so 10, 9 and 10. Okay, let's just make sure. 7 and 8. 9 and 10. 11, 12. 13, 14. You guys see that? 13, 14. So let's hear. Clash is here. So we're gonna go ahead. What was the last thing we did? The tom, floor tom. So 13, 14. Our clash is going to be our 15, 16. 15, 16. So that thing, we need to find it. So it's right here. Okay, that sound. Okay, so we're going to make that. Actually, let's make that rather our 15, 16 and make our clash. Well, no, it's okay. It's no big deal. Let's make that 17, 18 and our class will remain 15, 16. Okay. Yep. And then 17, 18. Cool. And that is that. So let's hear it again. Everything. There's another one here. So we got to go ahead and put that on 1920. Okay. So there is this here for 17. Where's the other one? Here, 17, 18. Okay. And then there's this here for 1920. Okay. And if you're wondering what sounds are those, that's a kit from Bolo. Bolo the producer. Okay. And then okay, so that's what that is. All right, so we have that. Let me make sure we are not missing anything. We have this, but I used the other track to do that, so we're not going to worry about it. So now that we've done what we've done, okay, that means we have selected all the way from 1 through what? 1 through 20. So what is going to happen here is this. Because we've done that, now even if we solo this, we are not going to hear it. Well, we can hear it now because we haven't done the additions yet. Okay. You see now. You see now we are not hearing it. You see now we are not hearing it because we have created the necessary things, okay? And we've gone all the way to what? 17. All right, so let's see what we have. So we have the kick going on the main one, which is not supposed to be there. It's going to be on the 3. So, okay. All right. I guess that one is on the 1 and 2. That's fine. It's okay. All right. So 1 and 2 is going to be the kick. Okay. So that's why we hear the kick. Okay. Okay. So that's going to be on the kick. Okay. So now let's hear the next one. So that's snare. So already we know this is kick. So we're going to write KK for kick. We're going to write SNR for snare. And that one is the rim. We're just going to say rim. We're just going to say rim. We don't know what this is yet until we find it. Okay. I. Okay. So this one is I. So we're just going to write SFX1. SFX1. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Okay, tom. So high tom, we're going to call it high tom as in HT. Okay, or tom 1 if you want to make it easy. Yeah, let's just call it tom 1. So it's easier for you. But high, or we can even put high tom. High tom, okay? That's fine. Let's look at the middle one. So that's probably going to be mid tom. That's probably going to be mid tom, right? Yep, mid tom. Okay. And then you see how it's taking a long time? That's what I was talking about. Okay, that's floor tom. So floor tom. Okay, so now we have high, mid, floor. Okay, and you guys see what is happening here? Okay, I'm actually going to save this because it's going to save me a lot of work. So I'm just going to kind of save some. So that's a clash. So let's do our crash, 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 crash. I don't even know how to spell crash very well. I don't know if it's crash or clash. Let me see. Crash. Yep. Crash. So I got that done. Let's see this one. Let's see what that is going to be. So you see. Okay. So that's SFX2. SFX2. Okay. So you see how you got to search for distance? So that's why I said it takes time. It's the same as, okay, so that one, for whatever reason, so remember I told you we're going to delete some. That's going to be an example of one we're going to delete, unless if we wanted to do a stereo, then we keep both, okay? Then we keep both. Okay, we keep both, okay? So for now, I think let me see. Yeah, I want that to be a stereo, so I'm going to keep both, okay? So it's going to be SFX2, okay? And then this one is going to be B, and then this one is going to be A, okay? All right. All right, SFX1, 2, let's see, the 3. What is 12? We're trying to find 12. I don't know what 12 is. Okay, SFX3. And with that, SFX3, that can be a mono. It doesn't need to be a stereo. Probably 13 is going to be the right side of it. Let me see. Yep. So let me see how it sounds in mono first. Yeah, it's kind of cool in mono, right? So let's do SFX3 A and B. We're gonna keep it SFX3 A and B. I might keep it in stereo, okay? Let's look at 14 and see what we have. I don't know if we are done. We might be done. All right, let's look at 14 through 17 and see if we have anything. That'll be the easier way. Okay, nothing. Okay, all right. So it looks like we have everything we need. Hopefully we are not missing anything. If we are, So now you see, because I have it all labeled, it just started to come back on, right? So we have the SFX A and B, okay, here, two here. So that's the one here, the two here, and the three here, okay? Those are those effects type sounds, okay? So this is what I meant by it's a lot of work to deal with the drums, because you have to literally do all these things, okay? So for now, I'm just gonna kind of show you how I did it. But to actually go in and actually clean it up, I'm not gonna do that in this video. Okay, but you guys kind of got an idea with the shaker, okay? Maybe we can do maybe one or two of it. I don't know. What time are we at? What time are we at right now? 1 hour and 16 minutes. I don't know. I don't really want to. I want to teach you guys at the same time. I don't want to take a lot of time. So let's do the kick. Let's do the kick, okay? Let's do the kick. That's fine. I think I could deal with the kick. So with the kick, we have it soloed. Okay. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to bring in the shaker. Because these things are all operating here. Oh, you see? Because I didn't lower that, because remember, it's a different type of sound, right? So remember to lower those, okay? All right, so that's the problem. Lower it. So now that was lowered, you don't hear anything, right? Cool. So before I work on the kick, I'm going to play the two shakers I've already worked on, then bring in the kick, okay? I think right there is fine for now, right? This is okay for as a start, okay? As a starting point. So the other thing I will advise you is anytime you are mixing, if you see any effects or buzz sense, go ahead and take them all off, okay? So you see how there are buzzes here? I'm going to just take it all off. No sand, okay? And now I'm not going to have any sand. Got it? Cool. So now it's clean, no sand. You can go ahead and save. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the kick. So now that I have this going on for the kick, the way we're going to do it is we're going to work on the EQ, then we're going to work on the compression. So you see how on the let me actually pull it up. You see how on the shaker there was more of the high end? See? More of the high end here, and nothing was showing up at the low. Same concept here. Now we have more things happening on the low and less happening on the high. So it's a reverse process, okay? You can decide to do it from scratch, or you can decide to use some of your presets to see if a preset sounds good and just modify. An example will be like this. And an example will be like this. Drums, and go through some of your kick stuff. Let's say low end kick. You see how the sound just changed? You see that? So if you want to work with presets, that's fine, but you're probably gonna have to do some tweaks to get it where you need it to be. Maybe See that? So the kick you want, you can accomplish by using some of these. Okay, for now, I'm just going to show you how to do it from scratch based on our reads, okay? So based on our reads, I'll add, you see how there is a small space here? You see how there's some small space there? You see how there's some small space right here? I'm gonna do a low cut. Then I'm gonna take out some. Let's do it this way. It's harder to tell because it's not enough room. Okay, you see, just slightly, not too much, or you're going to lose your kick. Slightly. Okay, then within this range here, sometimes it's going to be off. You're going to need to turn it on, unless if you don't want it. Within this range here, we're going to do a boost. You see, a boost. And as you saw in the other preset, if you want punchiness, you're gonna have to kind of do some of these concepts, okay? So for example, with this range, you see there's a sound there, you can drop it. You guys see that? And we can do a high cut, but I'm going to tell you something. Watch this. If you're hearing it right, it sounds boxed in. So you don't want to do a heavy one. You're going to do a slight one, not a heavy one. Okay, and we can find maybe here and work on it a little bit there. We can also do a little bit of a cut here. Okay. So let's hear how it sounds like without our treatment and with and without. This is with. Okay, without. You see, this is without. And this is with. Without. With. Without. With. Anyways, this is just me going through. Of course, I have to take time, compare it to the music and all that. Okay, this is just to help you get an idea. We're going to do just a little bit of the drums, not all of it. It's going to take forever. Okay, so now that we got that done, now we can do the compression for that. For me personally, I want my drum to be at utmost best. So, you know, a drum is not a stereo sound, it's a mono sound. Okay, so for the drums, I'm going to pick not the stereo R comp, but the mono R comp. And I'm not going to use that. I just want to use it to tell you something. So you see R comp, stereo, mono, okay? Watch how it sounds like in mono. I'm going to turn it off. Watch how it sounds like in mono. You see? It's not on yet. I'm going to put it on now. You see, it starts going to your right ear and stuff like that, right? So I don't mess with compressing a drum this way, okay? What I'm rather going to do is I will use one of the CLA sounds, okay? Either a CLA 76, maybe an SSL or something like that, okay? So let's say, for example, CLA mono. Let's see how it sounds like, okay? Sometimes you have to sample around a little bit. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so CLA 2A mono. Same concept, same concept. I mean, if you like the CLA feel, you can go for the CLA feel, okay? I'm going to tell you some of the ones I like to use, okay? Sometimes I will use R bass, and I'll tell you why. Because bass and bass go together, right? Kick, bass, 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 right? Sometimes I will use R bass, and hear how it sounds. So R stands for Renaissance, by the way. Renaissance bass, okay? You see how it sounds like that? So then you have to tweak it and stuff like that. So like this. All right. You can use that for different styles of mixing and the sound you want. For this, I don't see it for it, okay? I think I know what I'm gonna do. I just wanna check a few ones I like to use first. Another one I like to use sometimes will be all right, the Poetic Tech. I mean, with that, you can see how it sounds with a stereo feel. Let's see how it sounds with a stereo feel. Okay, and lastly, I want to check for my SSL. So one thing I hate about Logic is you cannot search. You have to go through it menu like this. I hate it. I hate it with passion. Studio One, you can just search. Okay, Ssl Compression. Okay, you can use some presets if you want. Okay, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So the threshold, if you want to hear more, it got to come to the left, okay? Sorry, I meant if you wanted to compress, okay? So if you don't want it to compress, well, that's a lot of compression. So you want slight compression. You see, this one is bassier, this one is flatter. So why would I use an Ssl compressor? To just basically compress while sweetening, okay? If you can hear it, it's like sweetening it, okay? So that's what's happening. Without, with, without, with. Okay, so if I do it that way, then I'm going to use a CLA to kind of just do an overall decision making. Okay, so CLA mono, let's use mono. Okay, so without first, we're gonna add it gradually. Okay, so now we're gonna add it. Guys, see that? Without, with, see, slight compression going on there. So without the CLA and the SSL, it sounds like this, right? And it sounds cool because it's heavy, nice. But first with a CLA. And then an SSL. Actually, let's reverse it. An SSL and a CLA. It sounds pretty cool too, okay? So you can either decide to eliminate the SSL now and keep the CLA. But then, depending on how high you want it, you may need to come and tweak it a little bit. Because you realize now it's reading different. If I add the SSL, see, the read is different also. Okay, so for now, let's keep the SSL. All right, so that is a little bit of EQ and compression. And you guys see how long we are taking in real time. You are seeing this in real time. It's not like I am doing it and you are watching it later. You are seeing it in real time. So mixing takes a long time, right? So you guys see that? And that is the kick. And then I would have to do all these processes for the snare, the rim, and blah, 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 blah. And you know it's going to take me forever. And Stein is not about to do that today. Okay? I just want you to kind of see how we mix and get a feel of it. Okay? And so now that we have a feel of it, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to be mixing this song when I'm off camera. But I just kind of want to show a little bit to you so you get a feel. So far we have this. And remember, I'm also mixing on headphones, right? I should be mixing with my monitors, okay? Again, I'm just doing a lesson, so it's a bit different. Okay, so try and mix with your monitors for some parts, especially when you're mixing a kick. Never mix a kick in here. Never. I repeat, never. Okay? All right. So for now, we're going to say it's okay. If we don't like it, take the SSL off, and it should be fine. Where are we at? 1 hour 38 minutes. We haven't even done anything yet too. This is just EQ and compression, guys. EQ and compression. That alone. Of course, I'm talking to. So for now, let's leave all the other ones out and let's work on some of the sound instruments, I guess. So you have a feel of how you would do some of those, okay? Let's work on the EP. Well, not solo. Remember I told you, you don't loop the whole thing. You have to select a section. This is a good example. Why? Because the EP don't play throughout. It plays in different sections, okay? So again, I'm just going to select a section so I don't have to keep waiting for it to come back. Okay, so that's the EP. You got to select where you like. Okay, let's work on the EP. You can work with presets or do your own. Let's see if some preset sounds good. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but before, let me try and do my own just to see if I like it. Okay, you guys see what I'm doing? Okay, all I'm doing is I'm hearing certain frequencies and I'm deciding what I want to hear more of, what I want to hear less of. Do I want to hear it more bassier, like cool bassier, or do I want to hear more of the mids better? So that's why I boosted the mid. Oh man, what did I just do? I didn't even know that my mouse can control it this way. That's crazy, but it's all good. Let's get out of there. See, my mouse can just go in a section and do this. I didn't know that. Because it's a new mouse. It's a new mouse. Okay. Okay, let me just make sure it's not affecting it too much. Okay, cool. All right, so I just boosted that kind of the mid low cut a little bit, and the high mid cut, and then just boosted it here a little bit. Okay, and that's why it sounds like that. So without the equalization, it sounds like this. Okay, so without equalization, it sounds like that. With the equalization, it sounds like this. I'm just going to do with and without. So if I press it and you don't see it blue, that means it doesn't have the equalization. If you see the blue, that means it has the equalization. Okay, so without and then with. All right, I think it sounds okay for me. All right, at least for now. At least for now. Okay. So and again, if you have any place where it has effects on, you're going to take it off. If we haven't worked on it, it's okay. It's no big deal. We're going to be working on it all, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so the EP is good. So now we're going to work on the compression. Now with the compression with EPs, this is what I'm going to say. If you want to do a very good job with compressing an EP, what you will need to do is you're going to have to compress. You're going to have to compress, use the R compressor to kind of get it to a different threshold. Then use something like the 2LA to bring it up, okay? Or even the Ssl compressor, okay? So let's see an example of that, okay? Let's see an example of that. We want to make it rich. So let's hear it. Here goes the slowing down. Okay. So we're going to do compression. I hate Logic and this thing. They need to add a search thing, man. Logic needs, just put a search thing here so we can search. Come on, Logic. I don't know why they got to make us go through this. All right. So our comp. An EP is not mono, it's stereo. So we're going to pick the S for stereo. So then we're going to go ahead and set the threshold, and you see what I'm saying. You see how I'm changing the threshold? Okay, without, with, right? It's passing my -6 threshold, but it's all good. It's fine. So the reason why I make this a bit hot is because I'm not going to lean a lot on the CLA. So if I'm going to ever do the CLA, this is going to be stereo, not mono, right? So we're going to pick CLA to a stereo, okay? And the way it's going to work is this, okay? Let's hear it without, and then we bring it in and work from there. You see, it brings it up front in your face, okay? But we are not going to do it hot. We're going to do it slightly, okay? Let's see. You're going to do it slightly. See how this is being slight? Something like that, okay? I don't want it that slight. I want it a bit more, a bit more reaction. Right. Without, with, without, with, without, without, with, without, with. Okay. So again, I have EQ and compression done for the EP, okay? So without the EP, without the treatments, it sounds like this. Now with the treatments, it sounds like this. Okay, cool. So that's how we would do the EP, okay? Then with the piano, did I say plan? Okay, piano. All right, the piano is going to be the same for the most part, okay? So let me work on the piano. Let's start with presets. I kind of like this, but I want to do my own just to see what I come up with. Let me try that. So you guys get the whole talking thing. If you see me dropping something, that means I'm cutting. If you see me making something higher, that means I'm trying to search for something. If you see me dropping it, that means I'm cutting. Okay, it's all about finding and cutting, or boosting. That's it. So if you see me do something like this, that means I'm boosting. If you see me doing something like this, that means I'm cutting. If you see me doing something like this, that means I'm searching. Okay, I'm searching for a frequency or something. Okay, if you drop, I'm cutting. I'm boosting. So boost, cut. So whatever you see me do, that's exactly what's happening. And if you see me do something like this, that means I'm doing a low cut. Okay. If you see me do this, that means I'm doing a high cut. Okay. Some people might call it, high cut filter, low cut filter, however you want to put it. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm going to do it. As I'm doing it, just kind of watch and get an inspiration from it. Okay. So here we go. I think I like it this way. All right, it's not bad. So what I'll do with my E piece is I have 3 E pianos, right? Sorry, my A piece, I have a piano here. As you guys can see, it's piano, piano, piano. All right, it's 1, 2, 3, okay? So all those are pianos, okay? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna copy that EQ on all of it, okay? It's gonna be about the same because it's the same tone, okay? And so I'm gonna just copy it on there, okay? And then we're gonna do some compression, okay? Like we did with the other one. The reason why I like using this compressor for compression is it just kind of makes it sound balanced and not, uneven with the left and right. Okay. Without it, it sounds, you can hear it like the separation, right? But then here it kind of glues it. Cool. Let's just work with this. I think I like it. Let's go ahead and copy it over. Okay. Again, to copy it over, you hold Option and just drag it and drop it. Okay. So then I'm going to do my last thing. I don't really need it, but I just do it just to do it. Okay. You realize that I'm copying my EP compression and just modifying it, right? Because it's going to save me from just starting all over because we keep doing this over and over and over and over, right? The only thing I want to do is I want to turn my... I want to see something. Yeah, let me do it that way. Okay, cool. Okay, I like it this way, okay? And you guys can hear the difference, right? So that kind of gives it the whole glue. So without the treatment, it sounds like this. And with the treatment, it sounds like this. I also wish Logic has something where we can just click one button and it will just unsolo. It will deselect all the plugins in there so we can bypass all the plugins on the chain. I wish Logic had something like that, but it doesn't. If there is, and do let me know, but that's not something I'm aware of that it does. Okay, cool. So again, you see how I'm mixing the piano. So again, the piano sounds loud, so you're not gonna hear it well, and it's not it's not panned yet, right? So again, now that I have it, I can maybe work the piano in so I see the right level to put it at. Maybe compare it with the EP. So let's work that in. We're going to work it in. You guys see that I'm doing a very good job mixing it, but I'm staying low. That's what I mean by mixing low. So you guys see how I started? You see the whole purpose, but by the time I'm done, it's going to be high. And the whole idea is the more you are mixing, this number here is going to start going in the reds. And so you're going to have to keep it clean. And we're going to try and get to -4, -6, okay? So right now is okay because I'm only playing a few instruments. If I play everything, it's probably going to be in the reds, as you guys probably saw in the beginning. Cool. So we have this at -23.6, right? So we can maybe put these two at the same place to keep it balanced. Okay. So let's take out the EP. Now that we have the compression done here, we're going to also add the 2LA to the APs or the acoustic pianos. Okay. So now we have it all across the board. So now we have the EP and the APs done. Okay. And again, this is just part of it, not all of it. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a place where those instruments are playing more of, and then like here. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of work with it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some type of panning concept, okay? Do I even want to do that? It doesn't matter. Let's just keep it like this for now. I just want to hear it. Let's hear with the whole beats that we have worked on. I mean, the stuff we've worked on, meaning anywhere you see treatment, okay? Let's see how it sounds. Okay, let's work on the guitars, okay? I think at this point, I might as well work on a few more things so it can be more complete, okay? I think I've already blown a lot of time. Where are we at? What minute are we at? Let's see. Trying to see the minutes we are at because I keep monitoring. Okay, we are at 2 hours and 8 minutes. 2 hours and 8 minutes. Okay, let's see if we can knock this out shortly. I'm I'm going to say something. You see this shaker is because it's a loop. It's a loop. So that's why you hear it all. Under normal circumstances, I should have control of my cowbell, my clav, and my shaker separately so I can do more to it. But for now, it doesn't really matter. Okay, that's why I added another shaker to add a different feel to it. That's why I added an extra shaker. All right, just to add a different feel to it. Let's work on the guitars, okay? So with the guitars, we are going to bring it up and see how we're going to do it. So software update, cancel. We don't know anything about that. Let's cancel. So be careful. You saw what came on my computer, right? Software update, you don't know. It can be an attacker shooting these things to you. Cancel it on your own time. Deal with it, okay? So be careful with these kind of things. All right, I see SP Appel is watching. SP Appel. If you haven't heard of SP Appel, go and search him on YouTube and go and subscribe to his channel, SP Appel. He is in charge of some of our production works in Ghana. He's doing a wonderful job. And if you guys see the young little boy who is very funny that we posted on our page, he is the manager of that boy, and he's also in charge of a media group back home. So if you want to do the movies and stuff like that, you can, go to him and he'll be able to help you. Okay, cool. So let's move on. God bless you, SP, for joining. So moving on, we are going to do the guitars. Okay, let's work in the guitars. I want to focus on the guitar separately, then eventually I'll bring it in with other stuff, okay? Let's focus on the guitar separately. Okay. So with the guitar, when I'm mixing a guitar, in Logic it's simple for me, but in Studio One it's a bit harder, but not hard. It's just because I don't know how to use Studio One entirely. I'm much more fluent with Logic, or better with Logic. So let's do the equalization. So our own equalization is going to look something like this. We cut a little bit of the low. We're going to find a frequency in here. Maybe here. Drop it. I'm just doing it very fast now, so you see something. And maybe here. Maybe drop it over there. Drop the low a little bit. Maybe boost it a little bit here. So without all this, it sounds like this. And with it, it sounds like this with treatment. All right, it's cool. But in Logic, what I like to do is something called guitar sweetener, okay? So it sweetens the guitar. It makes it sound unique. Then I can tweak it if I want to. If I don't want to, I just leave it like that. So one of the instruments that is so easy for me to mix in Logic is a guitar. In Logic, a guitar, I just put on the sweetener, go about with my day. Unless if I really want to take time to equalize, like I kind of briefly did here, okay? Of course, I have to do a bit more work with this range here. I just kind of briefly did something, okay? Just to kind of give you an idea if you're doing it by yourself, okay? And it sounds fine. But what I'm going to do is something called the guitar sweetener. You see, you come to guitar and you go to guitar sweetener. You guys see that? Sometimes I may use other things, but this is what I use most time in a lot of my productions, okay? I just do the guitar sweetener. It's going to look like this, similar to what I did, but a bit different, right? So let's hear without, and then I'll do it with. This is without. This is with. Without. All right, so I'm just going to leave it on like that, and I'm going to go about with my day. I like it just like that, okay? So the guitar is in two part, okay? You see guitar one, guitar two, same tone, just in two part, because we are playing with our hands, so we cannot do too much, okay? So that's why. Remember option and then drag, okay? So now we're going to do the guitar. Now the guitar, I'm going to tell you something. It can be in stereo or mono. Generally speaking, most people will want it in mono, okay? In mono. Why? Because you put a guitar in a guitar amp and then you just basically just play it like that, right? So most people would want it in mix it in mono, okay? But Stein is rather gonna mix it in stereo in this instant, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and pick my R comp, okay? Then I'm gonna do stereo in this situation, okay? And then let's work with it and let's hear how it sounds. All right, I think it's cool for me. All right, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. And I mean, if you don't understand what I'm doing here, all I'm doing is working with thresholds and ratio. Okay, and I've already explained it in the beginning, so I feel like if I keep talking, I'm just gonna keep talking about the same stuff. Okay, same stuff I explained in the beginning. Okay, so now I'm now gonna do a CLA2A. Okay, on it. Okay, so without the CLA2A on it, it sounds like this now. And then with the CLA2A, it sounds like this. I'm going to work from a preset, okay, with a guitar. And then the same concept, where would I want a guitar to sit at? I want my guitars to sit anywhere from the -5 to the -2, that range, okay? And that's what I'm going to work on. Now I'm going to tell you an alternative mixing method, okay? I can do my equalization. I can go ahead and do my first compressor like that, okay? Then I can use something that we call guitar rig, okay? So with a guitar rig, it's a native sound, so you got to come here and pick the one you want, okay? Maybe the MFX preferably, okay? And then you can pick a guitar sound you want. Okay, let's try and find one that will be sound nice. Anyways, the point is you can use an amplifier and then make it sound like it's playing with an amplifier. Stein is not going to do that, okay? Stein want to keep it simple, so Stein will do it what I showed first, okay? So I just wanted to show you that, okay? There are other alternatives of what I would do with a guitar. I would do stuff like use the SSL to kind of make it sound. I may even do that as a finishing touch. I may, and also I will do stuff like the V. What was it? The Poetech here. I will do stuff like the EQ or the MEQ. Okay, I will do stuff with it. Okay, so just understand there is a lot of things you would do. You could do, and this also can be very nice for something like a bass guitar or something like that. You know, you can come in here, pick a sub bass, you know, that kind of thing. Actually, that is what I meant to show earlier. So you see how the bass. Have we even done the bass yet? No, we haven't done the bass guitar. We haven't. Okay, when we get there, we'll deal with it. We were talking about drums. That's why. Okay, but the point is you could use it also for drum is what I'm trying to say. But yes, yeah, let's not worry too much about the extra talks. Let's go to the SSL. Okay, so let's go to the SSL. Okay, so we're going to find SSL. Like I said, I hate Logic. They when it comes to going through this. I wish they could just search and I could just search the thing because I know what I'm looking for, but I got to go through this process every single time. That's one thing I hate about Logic. Okay. I wish they had an extension for that. That would be very cool. All right, so Ssl Comp, okay, we're gonna do the stereo one in this situation. Again, it can be mono because it is, okay. The only reason why I'm adding the Ssl is to tighten it up a little bit, tighten it, okay. And it's gonna be slight compression. What I mean by slight compression is this line you see here shouldn't be going here. It should be just right here, right in between the 0 and the 4. You see how right now it's shooting? I got to bring it back. I see that. So slight compression, slight compression. Okay. With this, I'm going to keep the Ssl last. Okay. All right, cool. And I'm just going to copy it over to the other one. Okay. And so together, they will, the other part, this is at negative what? 15.4, negative 15.4. So together they will sound like this. So if I don't add the treatments, they are going to sound like this, okay? No treatments, it sounds like this. With treatment, it sounds like this. You guys see that? All right, cool. So that is that. Now, let's work the levels in. I think it's fine, but I just want to make sure. I think it's a bit too hot, right? So let's work it in. You guys see, you can hear every part. That's what's important. So you guys see what I said, mix low? That's what I mean. And you realize this one was at negative 16. Now it's at negative 3. We are getting to the reds, right? The meter, the peak level, right? The peak level. But we're gonna get there, don't worry. So the bass, I have our bass on it, so you already know what I use. So let me pull it back. I turned it off, okay? And I'm also going to bring the Pork Tech EP. Yes. And I'm going to talk about that with this. So I'm going to turn it off. So let's start with the EQ. Okay. So EQ. So with the bass, same thing. I could use presets within the bass, or I can do my own bass. Okay. Let's see what we have first. So the bass, the way I like to do it is I like to do it with my kick, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my kick. Did I mix my kick yet? Let me see. Yes, I did. So let me do the kick and the bass together, okay? That's how I like to do my bass. All right, let's start from here. this is kind of like slap bass. So if you come to bass, you see slap. If it's not too light for you, if you want to add more lows, if you like it, that's fine. If you want one jazz, for me, I'm just gonna do it from scratch. So let's go for it. Right, so I'm just trying to shoot for the same sound but make it a bit heavier, right? Same sound but heavier. That's why I'm doing it by myself, my equalization, and at the same time I'm kind of mismatching the frequencies. You can see I do a high boost here, then I go ahead and do some heavy cut here, then I do a slight boost on the high so that I can hear my highs, right? My high notes, right? And so that's why it looks the way it looks, right? So now let's talk about what I like to use. I like to use R bass. Okay, I already have something on there. So let's put it on and let's see how it sounds. Actually, you know what? Let's do it from scratch because I think this here, I was just playing around. Let's go ahead and do R bass. Okay, R bass mono, right? Let's put it on. And let's hear it. So you see the sound the R bass is giving you. Let's hear the sound the Trumpet Eq is going to give you. And let's compare, okay? So you see the R bass gives you a different sound. The Trumpet Eq gives you another sound. So let's hear the Trumpet Eq sound. So instead of me tweaking, I'll start with a preset. So that's the R bass feel, right? So let's bring in the R bass and the let's go between them two so you see how both of them sound. Okay, I think that I like the feel of the Puig Tech. Okay, like I said, I have to take time and see what I like better, right? So usually, I'm going to be honest with you, I like you to use R bass in a lot of my mixes. Okay. Alternatively, you may want to use something that's, I don't know. I just don't have a good I just don't have good luck with my CLA 76s. Okay. I don't have good luck with it. Okay. But alternatively, you can use that. Okay. I just don't never get good luck with it. I'm not going to waste time with that. I just don't have good luck with it. Okay. One thing I could do is the SSL. Okay. I could do the SSL again to smoothen it. Right. All right. So with the SSL, we would do the mono. We can just shoot for slight compression. I'm gonna leave the R bass on there just in case I want to really take time. Keep in mind I'm in headphones right now because I'm talking, so I don't want to use the monitors right now because I'm streaming, right? But I'll take time to go through it. So for now, I'm going to just not use the R bass, but I'm going to keep it there just in case I want to, and I want to use it in the near when I'm actually taking time to work on it. So just go ahead and save. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? We at 2 hours and 36 minutes. All right, let's get ready to wrap this up. Okay, cool. That's fine. And let's work on the horns shortly. Okay, since we've gotten this far in the video, let's work on the horns. Now with the horns, we got to find a place where we can hear it, and we can hear it here. Okay, we can hear it here. Okay, EQ. Whatever. Let's go ahead and get some stuff done. All right. So with EQ, I may like that, or I may like using just a simple preset, right? And if I'm ever, I may want to work with either the pop or let me see, the trumpet EQ. The trumpet EQ is one I like to use, but because this is not actual live trumpet, yeah, I like this one. And let me see the one I did. Okay. So that's mine. And let's hear the preset. Let's go between mine and the preset. What I did is fine, and the preset is fine. I'm going to keep both, and then I'm going to decide which one I want later. For now, I'm going to put the preset one first, okay? And then, let's see. Let's go ahead and do the Ssl Comp, okay? I don't always do it like this, but I want to do it like this for this mix. All right, Ssl Compressor. Again, I hate Logic not giving us the ability to do this. This is going to be stereo. All right. Let's do CLA 2A. think the one I did is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. You like my equalization better than you know, the preset EQ? Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, I think my EQ is nicer. I don't know. I like that. Let's hear the preset. Let's hear mine. I like mine a lot. I like mine a lot. Let me use mine. Okay? So let's use mine. So far we have that. And let's see. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to compare that with the sound instrument levels, okay? To see how it sounds. Then I'm going to lower it or balance it in so that it fits. The idea is you don't want it too low. At the same time, you don't want it to be too high or even compete with the other instruments. It's to just fit in. So this is an example of too low. Too low will sound like this. So that's too low. We don't know what it's doing. And then if we want it too high, it's going to sound like this. That's very bad. And then we don't want it to compete with the other instruments. It's like almost putting at the same level as them. So we don't want any of what I've just said. What we want is fit in, don't compete. Yeah, I like my EQ better. Cool, and that is everything there, okay? And I guess there is the pad and the strings. I mean, I might as well just do it. I might as well. Because this is what I'll be doing when I end the stream. So I might as well. At this point, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to work with the pad first, okay? So let's work with the pad first, okay? And the way I'm going to do it, yep, it sounds pretty good. So now let's work the pad in. I'm going to solo. I'm going to go to a part where the pad will come because the pad 2 is not everywhere. The pad 2 is not everywhere. So let me exit out and then let me see. So here's the pad. That's fine for start. And for the pad, this is what I'm going to do. I already have a preset of what I like. But let's just say if you didn't know what you are doing, let me make it louder and talk about it. Say if you don't know what you're doing. So if you don't know what you're doing, you would do a high cut to make it sound cool like it sounds. If you want it to be sound high, you would increase it like this. All right. Or you see how like the high is coming back. Okay, you guys get the point. So if you want it to sound cool, it's already fine how it sounds. Okay, you would just basically do a high cut. Okay, between 2K to 1K, and usually it will give you a sound similar to that. Okay, for now it's fine. So with this, I'm going to do a high cut and a low cut. Okay, so a low cut, high cut, maybe increase it a little bit in this regions, something like this. Okay, you see what I've done? That is cool. Say if you didn't know what to do, you could also do this in Logic. Go to keyboards and go to pad warmer. You see how it gives you something like that? You see what I've done? So this is what Logic gives you. It's not bad, it's pretty cool. And this is what I give you. So I give you this. I give you this. Logic gives you this. All right, it's all good. Okay, it's all good. All of them are fine. But you know which one I'm going to use, right? I'm going to use the one from with Logic. You know why? The reason is because I'm going to use the one with Logic. The reason is because it has other cuts that I could, get out at the same time. It gives you a blend of the high, okay? Kind of like I was showing in the example. So I'll use the Logic, treatment. Okay, and with this here, let's see what instrument we have available to us. We have the piano here available to us. So let's try and work it in. Like that. You don't want it to be too loud. You want it to sound like it's far. You see how it sounds like it's far? Guys see that it sounds like it's far away? That's fine. It's okay, because you just got to visualize these things, right? So what I'm gonna do is actually we have the EP. Let's go ahead and just copy that over, okay? So that's fine, okay? That's fine. And, oh, what did I do? All right, no big deal. I'll go back and listen. Well, let's not do that. Let's just backtrack. It doesn't hurt. Yep, I just clicked the wrong button. All right, and then let's do a CLA2A, and we're gonna just do a preset of strings, and then we're just gonna modify it. Okay, we're gonna do a preset of strings here, and we're just gonna modify it. So this is fine, okay? So you guys realize that I'm not always doing the whole sound. Sometimes I select certain things so I can compare it and have it closely balanced. You know, you got to do these things so you can have a good mix. So the strings, we got to figure out where we have some at, okay? So we have some here. So let's work that into. Right? Minus 25. So similar to the strings, well, so the strings don't have a low, okay? So I'm just going to cut that out. Okay. Okay. So it sounds like we got to cut a little bit here, but we got to narrow it down to here. Okay. Cool. I want it a bit lighter like that, so that's fine. Let's do compression. I didn't copy with the right button. Okay, compression. It's going to be similar to the pad in anyhow. But because it's single, I'm going to increase it a little bit. I'm going to make it hotter. Okay. All right, like this is fine. Okay. So now let's compare. All right, cool. So I like it like that. Okay. So let's see. We have one instrument here, the synth lead. There's not much to it for the synth lead. It's going to be literally the same as the pad, but different. Same thing, but different a little bit. It's fine. I like that. All right. I'm going to add more energy. More energy. I'm going to be different with this one. I'm going to use a CLA2A mono rather. Okay. Although I use some stereo, I'm going to make that 2A a mono. Okay. Just to kind of get a distinct sound. Okay. All right, so you guys realize the more we keep mixing forward, then it's getting it's like we are low, but it's high, right? That's because we are treating it, and so it has the highest quality of sound or something like that. Okay, so we start from dry, then we are making, and keep in mind we haven't even added reverbs, none of that stuff yet. No exciter, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is just EQ and compression taking us this long. Like I said, I might go to the R bass, but I don't know yet. I gotta listen from the speakers and stuff like that. Okay, so far you see what we have. So you see, it sounds loud, but we are low, right? But it doesn't mean we are good. Remember, you see, we are going into a bad part. Okay, so not good. Remember, when we started, we are somewhere around -16 or so, and now look at where we are going, into the reds. We haven't done anything to this volume. Anyways, so let's work on a few things, okay? And then I'll be out of your way. What do we have? 3 hours? Yeah. Let's wrap this up. The good thing is, even though I did this as a lesson, I have done at least a good 40 to 60% of my work already. The rest of it is me listening back and making final decisions on certain things. That's all. So yeah, so we've done a lot of the work together. Yep. So you guys see the piano. So now that we've done some EQs and compression, remember we resetted the whole board, and then we eventually did. See, the drums are still resetted because we haven't even worked on it, right? And we only have the things we've worked on up right at the moment. Okay. So the thing is, what am I trying to say here? Yes, the piano, right? So we got to work on some panning concept. Okay. Okay, so the beginning. So you see how the beginning it does something like this. You guys see that? You guys see that? So my idea there is, again, remember, this is real. It's not like you are just doing random things. You got to make sense, right? My idea here is, right now they are just in the middle. So my idea is to make it slightly panned. If I was to hard pan it, maybe you see how it started like that one will go from my left, then the pam 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 will end on my right, so it will sound like the sound is going like from my left ear to my right ear. Mix, yeah, mix. Whenever you are mixing, mix in a way that you would tease the ear to make the ear look for sweet things or something like that, right? Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do here. So instead of me leaving it all in the center like this, I'm rather going to pan it a little bit. I'm going to keep looping it, and I'm going to pan it so you see what I'm talking about. I'm going to just let it keep playing, and I'm going to do it. You see. You guys see how the pre is now on my left, right? Then here. So that is really what I want to do. I want the sound to look like it's traveling from left to right, okay? But then I realized that if I make it that wide, it won't be that effective. So I need to have it as centered as possible. So I'm like, okay, let me cut it in half and hear how it's going to sound. So what is 40 divided by 2? Okay, so there's a math. So there's some math in mixing. You got to not just mix, okay? 40 divided by 2 is going to be 20. So we're going to do minus 20 now to cut it in half. And then plus 40, we do minus 20 or divided by 2, okay? What am I talking about? 20 to cut it in half, okay? So now let's hear how it sounds. The same concept, but now it sounds a bit more upfront, right? Right? Cool. So that is panning for you. That is the whole idea with panning. Now, with a guitar, I want it to be centered because one part is doing one thing. One part is doing one thing and another part is doing the other thing. They need each other. You see? So they need each other. So I'm going to let the 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, I want that to be on my left. Okay. Generally speaking, whenever I'm mixing guitars, oh, sorry, did I say that the left? No. So what I'm thinking about is if I was doing like a guitar where one was doing rhythmic and then one was, when you do live guitar, they are able to play it much fuller. That's when I'll do this concept. Okay, one will go left, one will go right. Okay, in this situation, because I want it to sound very full and I want the guitar to hold the song, I'm going to keep it both in the center, but instead of keeping it in the center at one place, I'm going to pan it slightly left, like let's say a minus 10. Okay, got it? So it's going to be very slightly panned. Okay. You guys see that? It's slightly panned, but it's really centered, right? Okay. Right? All right. Anyways, one thing I like to also do sometimes is that sometimes I like to just solo all my sound instruments and just hear how it sounds, you know, without the bass. Sometimes with the bass too. Yeah. So there is another thing I want to also address. Because these two, I want to be unique, okay? These two, let me just unsolo everything and solo that separately. You see the EP and this one? You guys see that? I don't want them to both be centered, okay? So the way I'm going to do this is I want to find a place they are all playing, okay? I want to kind of have, so let's say right here, I can kind of get the feel over here. And let me turn the other pianos on. And let's talk about the pianos first before that. So it starts from the left. All right, so for me, I'm going to send it to the right. You guys know why? Because the pam 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 comes to the right. You guys see that? I want it to be closely related. Okay, and usually I send my EPs to the right, but in this instance, I'm going to send it to the left, okay? Because I want it to have a balanced sound. So let's hear it. So let's hear both. All right, cool. And I know there was one instrument I didn't talk about, which we might not even use. I was playing this thing. You guys see that? That one. The good thing is it's related to the synth, so we can just copy it over. Okay. You guys see how much cleaner it got? You see? So you guys see why you need to equalize and stuff. You see the noise here? You know, it's a pan flute. It has that noise. And now it's cleaner. Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna fix it. I just need to see something. Okay, this is one I'm gonna have to push harder. I have to push this one harder. Yeah, I have to push this one harder. It's fine. Except I don't want this to be mono. I want this to be stereo. Actually, let's just do our own 2LA stereo. All right, here. All right, cool. So that one is fine. So now let's work that in. Especially, we will compare that with either the EP. Let's see. So this one is not needed. I just like it because I played it and I was like, oh, I like how it sounds. So we're just gonna kind of set it in there. If we don't like it, we'll just take it out. It doesn't have to be included. So now that I have that talked about, the next thing I'm going to talk about is I got to play all the stuff that are centered when it comes to sound instruments and see if anything conflicts with that sound, okay? Because if something conflicts, it's not going to come well, especially the lead guitars and the brass. They're all centered, okay? Well, it's not really centered. You see why I slightly pan it? Because it is going to help to leave some clarity in the mid-range, okay? So that's why I did it like that. So let's find out how it sounds like. Well, I don't have it. I did solo, right? Okay, so we got to find a place where they're all playing. So let's see. Maybe over here. Over here. Somewhere here. We can get a few. So to me, if the lead guitar is panned slightly right, that means my flute needs to be slightly panned to the opposite side, okay? All right, to me, that's how I see my mixing, okay? You want it to be in the center, but you want it to be distinct, okay? You see that? You guys see how that works, okay? All right, I like it. I think it sounds good. Okay, I think I like it. It sounds good. Yeah, I can play everything so I hear how it sounds. All right, let's leave everything in so far, just what we've done. All right, let's hear what we've done so far. Okay, so now that I'm hearing it, I'm able to see certain things and tweak. Okay, so this is the point I'm doing that. So the strings, I'm going to lower a little bit. Maybe lower the synth lead a little bit, maybe. Not too much. One more, let's check. Okay, it sounds very good. I think I got to take time with the drums and then let it fall together. And even with the drums, I'm just playing random things, so I got to figure out at what point are we going to cut certain things out. So certain things got to get cut, you know, like the snare. I might need to do, I mean, the snare is fine, but like maybe how I play it doing the breaks. What I mean by the breaks is here. Like, for example, this section's here. Yeah, like this section's here. You see how it's doing that? So I gotta check all these. You see how, like, you see how it did the punch, what it did. It's fine, but I got to take time and make a decision is all I'm saying. Okay, so that's going to go back down. Okay, so far we've done a pretty good job working on this. And I think you guys can see we've taken almost 4 hours, 3.5 hours to just equalize and compress. This is not including creating bus sense. Okay, so we can do certain things, which that reminds me, let's delete what we didn't create. Okay, in Logic, it automatically creates bus sense for you for whatever weird reason I don't get. Okay, so now it's not there anymore. Cool. So always make sure you're working from dry signal. Okay, that's one thing in Logic. It creates the buses for you for, you know, 2 buses for you as for whatever reason I don't get. Okay. All right, so now it's clean. Let's check on the shaker a little bit. Yeah, I don't want the shaker to be too loud. I just want it to just fit in because, you know, really it's just an additional. You get it? I think it's fine. Cool. And again, with the shakers, we haven't even added reverbs and stuff like that, right? We got to create a buzz, add reverbs. You know, like I said, there's a lot more that goes into mixing it, okay? But I just want you guys to get the basics of it, okay? So you guys see that. So, for example, if you wanted to add a send, you would basically, let's do 1 shaker, okay? Let's just do 1 shaker. So like this is going. You can either add your reverb directly on. I like to bus my reverbs, okay? So I'll create a bus, okay? Then I'll call it whatever name, okay? I'll call it verb 1 or percussion reverb, whatever. So maybe verb 1. Let's just keep it simple. Then I can pick a reverb I want. There's a lot for now. Let's pick any random one like our verb. All right, so I got my R verb, and you can do necessary tweaks or select necessary presets of your choice, okay? So now that I got it there, I can now send it. Okay, but now remember this is pre-fader, right? I mean, sorry, post-pan. So you got to set it to either post-fader after or pre-fader before. Okay, so in most cases, post-fader should be fine. You guys see here how it sounds? So you hear a little bit of reverb there without, with, okay, without, with. If I was to put it directly on it, this is how it would sound like. So hear it. This, if I was to put it directly on it, if this is how it would sound. You guys see that? So now you see why I don't put it directly on it. Then you would have to come in here and lower the reverb and stuff like that. Actually, you can actually use the whole reverb and make it more dry. And it's fine. You can lower the reverb too if you want it. If you want it, you could do that. Not all the way dry, but you got to hear the reverb a little bit. So the question you got to ask yourself is, do you prefer to go about it this route? Okay. Or do you prefer to go about it the bus route? For me, I like the bus route, personally for me. Okay. So that is one way to work with, you know, your buses and do your your verbs and stuff like that. Okay, so all that has to be done. Okay, so I just showed you one example so you know how to do it whenever you are doing it. So when you're working with instruments, most times you're going to use the pre-fader. Okay, whenever you're doing it, you see how it has the post pan here, post pan, post fader and pre-fader. So you're going to use the pre-fader, post fader and post pan. You guys got it? Okay, so post fader, post pan. All right, cool. And that's kind of how you work about with that. I'm going to take time and finish this today and tomorrow. So we will do a review of this. This one is just mixing. I will do a review of it, okay? And then you guys will see the final work, how it sounds like, okay? But it's going to be the same thing as this, but, you know, more together, right? All right, guys, that's going to conclude it. This is it for this mixing session. I'm done. I'm going to listen to it in the speakers a little bit and make a few minor tweaks. Then I'm going to end the broadcast, and then I'll see you whenever I do the review of this song, okay? Probably not till a week or two time. Maybe next week. Maybe next week or two, okay? You will hear the review of the song, okay? I'll come live and do it, okay? All right, but until then, remain blessed. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a tutorial of mixing a song in Logic Pro, okay? I hope you guys were blessed by it. You guys see how certain things are done, okay? All right, my goal is to just come your way, show you things so you can be blessed and know how to go about with using some of these softwares, okay? All right, remain blessed until next time, and this is time. Bye-bye. All right, I'm going to play it, and you're not going to hear my voice anymore. All right, the next time you hear my voice is going to be in the next broadcast. All right, stay blessed. Bye-bye.